It was the moment fans had been waiting for, and the one they feared at the same time. When Jamie Fraser finally comes face to face with William Ransom again, the reunion doesn't unfold with relief or resolution. Instead, it carries a weight that feels almost unbearable, shaped by truths that can no longer be ignored. For a relationship built on silence, distance, and hidden identity, this encounter was never going to be simple. And the tension is immediate. There's no dramatic build-up, no easing into the moment. The scene drops both characters directly into confrontation, where every word matters and every pause feels deliberate. William isn't the same young man who once looked up to Jamie without understanding why. Now, he knows, and that knowledge has changed everything. It shows in the way he speaks. His tone is sharper, more controlled, but underneath it, there's something unresolved. Confusion, anger, maybe even betrayal, all layered together in a way that makes it difficult for him to fully express what he's feeling. He's not just reacting to the truth, he's struggling with what that truth means for who he is. Jamie, on the other hand, carries a different kind of weight. He has lived with this reality for far longer, understanding from the beginning what revealing it would cost. And now that the moment has arrived, there's no relief in finally being seen, only the quiet recognition that some things, once spoken, can't be undone. His responses are measured, careful, as if every word is chosen not to fix the situation, but to prevent it from breaking further. That restraint creates a different kind of intensity. Because this isn't a conflict driven by action, it's driven by emotion. There are no physical threats, no external danger. The tension exists entirely between them, in the space where expectation and reality collide. And that makes it harder to resolve, because there's no clear path forward. What makes the scene even more powerful is what isn't said. There are moments where silence takes over, where both characters seem to search for something that can't quite be found. A way to bridge the distance, to redefine the relationship in a way that makes sense after everything that's been revealed. But that bridge doesn't appear, not yet. And that absence is what defines the reunion. Because instead of closure, it leaves both characters in a state of uncertainty. William doesn't walk away with acceptance, and Jamie doesn't walk away with forgiveness. What they share is something far more complicated, a connection that exists, undeniable and irreversible, but not yet understood. Fans have responded strongly to this shift. For years, the idea of this reunion carried a sense of anticipation, almost hope. The belief that once the truth was out, something could be repaired, or at least acknowledged in a way that brought clarity. But what the show delivers instead is something more realistic, more emotionally grounded. It doesn't offer answers, it raises questions. How do you reconcile a past built on secrecy? How do you redefine identity when the foundation of that identity has changed? And perhaps most importantly, how do you move forward when the person standing in front of you is both familiar and completely unfamiliar at the same time? These questions don't resolve within the scene. They linger, shaping everything that follows. The reunion becomes less of a turning point and more of a beginning, a moment that opens a door to a new phase of the story, one where relationships are no longer defined by what is hidden, but by how those hidden truths are handled. And that's what makes it so compelling. Because instead of delivering the emotional payoff fans expected, it challenges them to sit with discomfort, to accept that some moments don't lead to immediate resolution. They lead to change, and change takes time. By the end of the scene, one thing is clear. The bond between Jamie and William has been transformed. Not broken, not healed, just changed in a way that can't be reversed. If the reunion between Jamie Fraser and William Ransom leaves everything unsettled, the episode doesn't give viewers time to process it, because something even more unexpected begins to unfold. Just as the emotional weight of that confrontation lingers, a new detail emerges, one that shifts the focus of the story in a completely different direction. At first, it feels disconnected, almost like a separate thread being introduced quietly in the background. But as the scene develops, it becomes clear that this isn't just another subplot. It's a revelation. A new time traveler. The show has always treated time travel as something rare, almost sacred, limited to a few individuals whose journeys define the structure of the entire narrative. So the introduction of someone new, someone unexpected, immediately raises the stakes. This isn't just about expanding the world, it's about changing how that world works. And the way it's revealed makes it even more unsettling. There's no dramatic announcement, no clear explanation. Instead, it comes through subtle cues, knowledge that shouldn't be possible, reactions that don't align with the time period, a presence that feels slightly out of place. It's the kind of reveal that builds slowly, inviting the audience to piece it together rather than presenting it outright. And once it clicks, everything shifts. Because a new time traveler doesn't just add another character, it introduces new possibilities. New connections between timelines, new risks, new outcomes that weren't previously considered. It suggests that the boundaries the story has relied on may not be as fixed as they once seemed. Fans immediately began speculating. Who is this person? How long have they been part of the story without being noticed? And perhaps most importantly, what do they want? Because time travel in Outlander has never been neutral. It always comes with purpose, with consequence, with a reason that eventually reveals itself. That's what makes this moment so significant. It arrives at a point in the story where everything already feels unstable. Jamie and William's relationship is fractured, emotions are unresolved, and the sense of direction is uncertain. Introducing a new element at that exact moment doesn't resolve anything, it complicates it further. And that complication is intentional. Because it creates a parallel between the two storylines. On one side, you have a deeply personal conflict rooted in identity and truth. On the other, you have a broader shift that could affect the entire structure of the narrative. Together, they create a sense that the story is entering a new phase, one where nothing is as predictable as it once was. The presence of another time traveler also raises deeper questions about the past. If more people can move between timelines, then how much of what has already happened is truly fixed? Could certain events have been influenced in ways the audience never realized? And if so, what does that mean for the future the characters are moving toward? These questions don't have immediate answers. Instead, they add tension to every scene that follows. Every interaction becomes layered with possibility, every decision carries the weight of unseen variables. The story is no longer just about what is happening, it's about what could happen, and how that uncertainty shapes the characters' choices. What makes this reveal even more effective is its timing. Placed right after an emotionally charged reunion, it prevents the narrative from settling. Just as viewers begin to process one major shift, they are introduced to another. It creates momentum, but also instability, a feeling that the ground beneath the story is shifting in ways that can't yet be fully understood. And that's where the episode leaves its mark. Not with resolution, but with expansion. The reunion between Jamie and William opens a door to emotional complexity, while the introduction of a new time traveler opens a door to narrative unpredictability. Together, they signal that the story is moving towards something larger, something that will require both personal and structural change. By the end, one thing becomes clear. The past is no longer just something to be remembered. It's something that might still be rewritten. And perhaps the most unsettling implication isn't just who this new traveler is, but what their presence suggests about everything that came before. Because if time is no longer as fixed as it once seemed, then every choice, Every sacrifice made by Jamie Fraser and those around him could be part of something larger than they ever imagined. The idea that someone else has been moving through time, possibly influencing events in ways no one has yet realized, introduces a level of uncertainty that changes the stakes entirely. It's no longer just about surviving the present. It's about understanding whether the past itself can still shift, and who might be responsible when it does.